Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Anybody who attacks Islam, nasa mankasa no a, either say many problem with my data, and I'm a network reha and nasa mante, and I'm in Nikroimu, Black Rasta, Montageno, Raspopo, Onimesia, Montage Black Rasta video wemu. Now Rasta introducing about the development in Rwanda and it's a plus and we are happy about it to hear about Black Rasta. But the more Black Rasta video no, nemfi yenko tie sima beka. Na ya mre meyi na no wano. And we na ba wuso ebeka be. Me no me de matansoro ma ho. Na wa share video no.
Known as Rwanda. How many of you have heard about Rwanda? Who is the president of Rwanda? He's called Paul Kagame, right? Very tall. He's the tallest president in the whole of Africa. It used to be Abdou Diouf. But Abdou Diouf has been relegated to the background. He's no longer a president. Paul Kagame has the height of the Fulani. I believe that he has some Fulani blood in him. To the glory of the Most High God. Rwanda is a country that has only about 12 million people. It's a small country. But it is big. Rwanda is a pace setter when it comes to African technology. True or false? Now we all remember how Rwanda came out of a civil war. In fact, a genocide. The Rwandan genocide, where about 1 million people were slaughtered in cold blood. Paul Kagame sat down and watched how Hutus and Tutsis massacred and killed each other. We all remember President Habyarimana, right? We all remember how Hutus and Tutsis slaughtered each other. Nobody would have thought that Rwanda would come back this fast, but Rwanda is back. Rwanda is back. Hey, Rwanda is back to the point that England even wants to send asylum seekers to no other country but Rwanda. Is that not a plus? It means Rwanda is such a hot place. But Rwanda only has a population of 12 million people. Rwanda is rising to the noise of religion. How many of you know that religion is noisy? So noisy. Sometimes I can't even take the noise religion makes. That is why I am not religious. I am only spiritual. Some people don't know that religion is only supposed to be a conduit pipe to spirituality. You need that lecture, right? We will do it another day. But for now, religion is just supposed to be a means to an end, and that end is spirituality. You understand that? All right. Hear me now. Paul Kagame says that in his country, when you make noise with loudspeakers in the name of religion, you will be closed down. Watch it. This is from BBC. It says, Rwanda bans Kigali mosques from using loudspeakers. Now we all know when Muslims are, calling people to prayer, they call it the Azan. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. You know, they use loudspeakers most of the time because they want as many people as possible to hear the Azan. They call it the Azan so that they can come and pray. My brother, my sister, over the years, I've always wondered. Azan is supposed to be the call to prayer. Why do you have to wait till you are called to pray when you know that at this time you are supposed to be in the mosque to pray?
You will always see Black Rasta so happy anytime Islam or Christianity has been attacked or is being bullied. You will always see Black Rasta very, very happy about it. But whenever some group of people attack Rastafarians or when the Rastas are being bullied, you will see Black Rasta fighting for human rights. You will see him. At that moment, he's a humanist. He's fighting for human rights because the Rastas has been touched. But anytime Islam or Christianity is touched, you will see Black Rasta quiet and happy about it. What kind of an awkward humanist is this? If I'm a humanist, I shouldn't be always greedy. As a humanist, I must feel pity for anybody, being it a Christian, a Muslim, a Buddhist, or anybody at all. In as much as I do not agree with the person, when the person is being cheated, as a humanist, I must fight for his right. Black Rasta has proven to the whole world that he is very, very selfish in his humanitarianism. He does not even understand what it takes to be a humanist. He does not even understand it. He is one kind of a selfish guy who is doing all this. But I have a news for Black Rasta. One thing that a Black Rasta does not know about Islam is that, let me give Black Rasta some history of Islam. Let me give Black Rasta a brief history of Islam. Islam, when it came to Mecca, because Islam has been there in the days of Adam, Noah, and the rest. Read Quran 42 verse 13, Quran 2 verse 136, Quran 3 verse 85, and so forth and so on. Islam is the religion of all the prophets. But when it came to Arabia, Islam was given to one man. His name is Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Muhammad ibn Abdullah. Muhammad ibn Abdullah was the only Muslim then in Arabia. He was sent in the midst of idolaters, people who were worshipping idols, stones, and were doing human sacrifices and were killing human and children and so forth and so on. They were infringing on each other's rights. The one that is stronger bullies the other. I can even kill you and boil you and eat. Or when you marry, I take your wife and so forth and so on. The strongest survive. In the midst of such people, Allah Azza wa Jalla sent Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The first man to have believed in him, Abu Bakr. The first woman to have believed in him, Sayyidah Khadija. His cousin, Ali, Karamallah Wajahu, was born, he was as young, very, very young, so he was truthfully, he never practiced idolatry. Muslims were in the minority side. And this includes Bilal bin Rabah and the rest. Ammar bin Yasir's mother was killed by Abu Jahl and his people by piercing a sword in between her thighs and then killed her just for saying La ilaha illallah. They were persecuted. Anybody that embraces Islam is persecuted, is killed. They had to run. Some of them have to run, led by Jafar, to Najashi, King Negus of Ethiopia. The others migrated from Mecca to Medina. Later, the Prophet also migrated to that place. They thought they have eradicated Islam from Mecca. The kuffar of Mecca thought they have eradicated Islam in Mecca. Nobody can practice Islam again. They are free. Guess what? The Prophet went to Mecca and then came back and conquered Mecca. And then did Fatihul Mecca. Today Mecca and the entire Arabia is Islamic country. Another example. When the Muslims were ruling Andalusia, way back Spain, the Crusaders invaded us. They killed the entire Muslims. For about 50 to 70 years, no Muslim can give Azan. Azan is the call of prayer. No Muslim can give Azan. Everywhere was silent. Today, do you know the number of mosques in Spain? We have 13 large mosques in Spain. And we have about 1,000 small mosques in Spain. La ilaha illallah. Whenever you chase Islam away, Islam bounces back. That's what you don't know. That's the history and the record of Islam. You know why? Because huwa allazi arsala rasulahu bil huda wa dinil haqqi liyudhhirahu ala dini kullihi walau kariha al mushrikuna. It is God who has sent down his messenger with truth, with truthful religion, to overcome every idea in the world. Even if you, disbelievers, do not like it. Now, another fact to be given to you is that Islam came to Russia just 22 years after the life of Prophet Muhammad. Islam went to Russia in the 7th century. Around 1997, the Russians had to ban every religion. The Russians had to ban every religion from being active. And this was done by the centralized organization, which has existed in the country for more than 50 years. they banned the entire religion, Christianity, Islam, name the religions, from being active in 1997. But guess what? Today, there are more than 25 million Muslims in Russia today. What haven't we seen before? What haven't we seen before as Muslims? Tell us. What haven't we seen before? In France, we have to pay for our women to wear hijab and put on a veil. We are paying, and Islam is still growing. Upon all the propaganda that people have done against Islam, Islam has still survived. Tell Paul Kagame that his hate to Islam or any religion at all can never and will never bring Islam down. Black Rasta, your ignorance and your hate to Islam or any other religion can never bring Islam down. We've seen men fighting against Islam. We've seen men beheading Muslims. When France entered Chad, they beheaded 400 Islamic scholars. 400. They beheaded all of them. Islam is still in charge. You can never bring Islam down. Said people are not even born yet. We have answers to everything that you bring. We are Muslims. Before Paul Kagame, that it is a brief joy that he is enjoying. Said power, he will lose the power today or tomorrow. We saw Donald Trump banning Muslims from traveling to Europe. The new Joe Biden has lifted that ban. So we've seen it all. Muslims have seen it all. These things are not new to us. It is never new. We've been persecuted in countries upon countries, and we are not scared of it at all. People giving us bad names and tagging us into bad names and bad brands, we are not scared of it at all. We are Muslims. هو الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون.
Don't you have alarm clocks? Probably in those days there was no alarm clock. So the imam or the man who is supposed to call the Azan, he's called the Muazzin, is supposed to come and call you so you will go for prayer. My brother, my sister, in those days they did not even have loudspeakers. You know who they chose to be a Muazzin to call the Azan? You must have a sweet voice, one. And number two, you must have a loud voice that will captivate people. My brother, my sister, in modern times, speakers have come in and people would rather use the speakers to call people near and far. And it's always a nuisance. 5 times a day, the mosques in my area would call people to prayer. And it's so noisy.
You can see Black Rasta making a strawman's argument that he's even proposing that Muslims should use alarm clocks for praying. Islam is not about opinion, Black Rasta. Islam is a religion made up with laws, constitutions, and orders, which is being written in the Quran and the Hadith. In Islam, I think, I wish, I want, does not come into picture. It is what has been written down that we follow. We don't just say this thing, I think we should do it like this. So by you say making a suggestion that we should use alarm clocks and so forth and so on isn't part of Islam. It is not part of Islam. The calling of the Azan, like that Imam told you, brings a blessing. It casts away devils. It has spiritual things. So we cannot remove it in Islam. And you are not the one to tell us to remove it in Islam. Those days, yes, they did not have alarm clocks. But don't worry, the Jews were using horn already those days. There were horns already. We could have also, even the Muslims were even living closer to each other. Azan is acceptable. We won't throw away Azan, no matter what you say or do. If Black Rasta has to do this argument with us that we can use clocks, alarms for our Azan, similarly, Black Rasta should also accept that he can also build Rastafarian schools for his Rastafarian students and his Rastafarian families, instead of meddling into schools that are not purposely for Rastafarians, by taking them to court and causing chaos and nuisance in the whole area. He should get that. He should also get that. There is what we call tolerance and everything. We are not the only ones that give Azan. Our Azan lasts for just 3 to 4 minutes. We are not the only one that yells or scream out for Azan. No. The Roman, they play bell. The Christians beat drums. And the Rastas, like Black Rasta, you disturb us with your Kochoko music, nonsense song. You came to Sedro and be playing those your Zuku music, and you were disturbing our vicinities around Greenland Hotel. We couldn't sleep in our Zongo with your noisy live band when you came to Sedro. You forgotten that? But because we tolerate each other, we have tolerance, we have to tolerate each other. That is why we had to listen to every nonsense you came to do, and nothing happened to you. Have you forgotten that? And tomorrow you'll be also going to another place and be playing street jams and so forth and so on. Have you ever thought of your neighbors who don't like your Kochoko music? Have you ever thought of your neighbors who don't like your ganja music? Have you ever thought of your neighbors whom you are disturbing? Mr. Peaceful Man, Mr. Peaceful Religion. Have you thought of that? Have you thought about we who don't listen to your noisy songs and your noisy live bands? You think about us? I will propose to government to ban music in live shows in Ghana. At least live shows must be banned in Ghana. And also any club or any stage which is being mounted for musical scene must be done within such that it should not disturb we who don't also listen to music. We must have our peace. They must think about us. And Black Rasta, what will be your action when this happens? What will be your action when such happens to you? When we ban all your live shows, when we ban all your rap shows and all your entertainment shows, and we tell you because it is nuisance to us, we don't want to listen to it, you are disturbing us. And so it should be done in a serene where nobody will hear it. How will you feel? You come to our communities and be singing and be playing noisy and Zuku music all over the places. Listen, had I been a musician, wallahi, I would sing better than you. And if I'm a musician, you will never hate, I tell you. So I sing better than you, I rap better than you. I'm a bad dancehall artist, I'm a bad reggae artist. If people like we were in the music, you will never hate, you will never become a star. Zuku. Yantuaso.
Yet these are the same people who want to go and live in America, a country where this will not be accepted. A lot of them want to go all the way and live in England, Japan, because of the economic situation. And you know that in Japan, you cannot use loudspeakers to make noise. Now, the noise of your religion, my brother, my sister, do you care about the other people who don't believe in your religion?
Rasta is lying, and he's proving to us that his mind is so close, his mind is so shut, he doesn't even do research. In America, they play Azan, they call Azan. In America, they call Azan everywhere. America, yes, you want to live in Japan. Yes, in Japan, they pray. Just recently, in New York, at Times Square, Muslims blocked the street and performed Taraweeh over there. What will you do? You've been throwing dust into people's eyes in the name of America. America, where have you been in America? Where do you know in America? We have families, we have brothers over there. And today, social media is so easy that social media is so closer to us that everything that is happening everywhere, we see it. America today has embraced Islam. People like you will have to go and hide in your rooms and be crying and be screaming for the growth of Islam. Nothing will stop Islam from rising to the star. وَقُلْ جَعَلْ حَقُّ وَذَاكَ الْبَاطِلِ إِنَّ الْبَاطِلَ كَانَ زَهُوقًا. When truth comes, falsehood perishes. For falsehood by its nature is bound to perish. Are there not Christians in America? Are there not Christians in Germany? Are there not Christians in Italy, France, and so forth and so on? Aren't they succeeding in life? It is the governance, it's the system of government in Africa that is killing Africa. The corruption is too much in Africa. That's it. Old men enacted laws that is favoring them. They are able to steal and rob the country's money, using it to feed their girlfriends and their families. Even when they die, their families will enjoy. That is the kind of system we are in. The Europeans are religious people. The Arabs are religious people. Religion did not impede their progress. They've been successful enough. And today, in America, Europe, Asia, everywhere, the fastest growing movement is Islam. There are 1.2 billion and over Hindus in India and the world. Religious people. China, Buddhist. But you still refuse to wake up